NathanIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, closed fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airways, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Grippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Good morning, my friends. Welcome back. Welcome back to the last honest place in America, brought to you by the good folks over at CDM. My name is Nathan Ivy. I'm your humble host. Good morning. Let's get into it. Lots of things to discuss this morning. I want to talk about the PG Sittenfeld trial. Man, it's starting to heat up. We're starting to learn more things about more people. Quite interesting. Everybody seems like they got a little dirt on them. Or, and I won't say everybody, but, well, I'll give you the details. Also, did you hear the latest coming from Uvalde? What is going on down there? Seems like the police has been trying to block information from getting out to the public. It's well documented at this point that it appears that officers were on the scene, and instead of going inside the building, it was chilling outside, including one incredible heartbreaking story about an officer whose wife was a teacher inside the building. She gets shot. She calls him. It's kind of like her dying last words, come save me. So he takes off. He's outside the building. He takes off to go inside, right? To rush inside as anybody would to save their loved one. And what happens next can only be called tragic. I don't think I could do that. I think if that's me, there's some things that's just bigger than you. You got to get out the way. Say, just get out the way. But it looks like he was prevented from going back inside by his fellow officers. They even disarmed him. You imagine this? It's an active shooter situation inside the school. You get a call. You get a call from your dying wife. I've been shot, honey. Come save me. You rush to go save her and you get stopped. That is crazy to me. I just can't do that. I think if I'm one of those officers in that situation, you got to go do what you got to do. You got to go do what you got to do. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not getting in the way of that. I'm not getting in the way of that. That's just me. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. So flashing your screen right now, you should see the images from today's sponsor, our various sponsor this morning. A great way of supporting the Nathan Ivy Show is supporting the people that support the Nathan Ivy Show. All right. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Anybody paying attention to that PJ Sittenfeld trial? Oh, boy. Quite interesting. So now what we're learning is that Chinedum Ndukwe, who was the government's witness. So basically, he was working with the government to set up PG. and he may have had some involvement with Jeff Pastor as well. And initially, when the story came out, it was presented as if, he was just a stand-up guy. I remember one of the special agents, they had these press conferences, and one of the special agents praised Chinedum Ndukwe, praised him, he was a hero. Kind of find out he had his own legal issues. He had his own charges he was being dealt with. And that's part of the reason why perhaps he decided to go along in the case with PG Sittenfeld. And I get it, self-preservation. The boys knock on your door. Who is it? FBI. And then they got your name on some possible charges. You're going to do almost anything to make sure your charges go away. Just think about that. That's some real life. That's the way the world really works. And as the story has been told, apparently Mr. Chinedum Ndukwe and Mr. Sittenfeld had gotten close. This was being reported in the media. They had gotten close over 7-8 years and all this kind of shit. But when the feds come knocking on your door, all bets are off. All bets are off. But it does change the way that it could potentially change the way people view Mr. Chinedum Ndukwe. Because again, at first, if this guy, he just doing it, he's tired of being the shakedown. He's tired of the shakedown. And I can understand that. But not only was he tired of the shakedown, but he's trying to work with the feds to make sure he don't get his goose cooked. On top of the fact that it came out yesterday that he may have been paid about $27,000. So you're getting paid and you're trying to fight off your own charges. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. It's being reported that the same thing with a man named Jared Kramers. Apparently, he is going to testify that PG Sittenfeld was targeting individuals for donations who had business before the city. And I think city council's already closed the door on that, which I'm glad to hear. That was a loophole that for some was probably just low-hanging fruit, right? I'm trying to put some money in the bank for this campaign. Who I'm going to go to? Shit, I'm going to go to the people that's got business in front of city council. They got the money and they've got an interest. I can see that. I'm glad they closed that. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're doing well. What's up, choppers? What's up, early risers? What is this right here? Oh, okay. Cool. I'm with the business. I'm with that. Good morning. Good morning. I've been spending a lot of time, choppers. I'm not going to get all in details right here because this isn't the space for it. But I've been thinking a lot about what the future means for this show and what we're doing. And I've seen just a glimpse of what the future could look like. And it's quite interesting. There's a whole new world that is upon us, whether you know it or not. And some people are out front of that space, and some people don't even understand that the space is even there. And I've always been the kind of person who observes more than I talk, even though I talk for a living. But I observe far more than I talk. I'm quiet way more than I talk because I'm always trying to learn. And you can learn some great things from other people. You can learn exactly what not to do. But in some cases, you can learn exactly what to do. And there's a new world upon us, my friends. And I'll talk more as I educate myself in this world. I'll talk more about that with you because I want you to be educated as well. But I'll give you a tease, just a little tease there this morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. So a couple things to talk about. Let's talk with the PG Sittenfeld trial. Start right there. Hold on, let me a second. I may have a guest for us this morning to share thoughts on it. We may have a Steve Gooden give us a call again this morning to give us his perspective on everything that happened, okay? But good morning to you. Let me put the cam up. Not sure why you want to see this face, but here I is. Here I be. Good morning to you. Still doing things from the home office. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Check me out. Yeah, yeah. The blockchain company. Shout out. Chopper support choppers. Check them out. Check them out. They want to have an impact in our community. Good morning to you. And if you have a business and you're a chopper, you already know. All you gotta do is send me a 2X. Because what I found is I can fit a 1X, but a 2X, when I put it in the washing machine, it just and then it gives me a little bit of this room right here around the belly. You know what I'm saying? Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Elijah writes, Chopper's going to the metaverse. I don't know. Terrace writes, where can I find the Martin reunion you talked about yesterday? I look for it on Netflix. I saw it. I have I forget, we got some type of fire stick, and it was on there. I'm not sure where it is originally. Hold on, let me see. It's worth your time though, trust me. Oh, it's on BT Plus. So the fire stick I have, okay, thank you, Daryl. The fire stick I have, you can get into a lot of different streaming services. For the low. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't mess my shit up over here, right? Don't do that. Carmelita's in the house. She writes, good morning. What up? What up? Good morning, Jared. Hashtag Team NI. Good morning to you. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all doing well. So let's talk about PG Sittenfeld. So does that change the way you look? I mean, it's really, really early, but I thought that was interesting because that wasn't first reported about Chinedum and Dukwe. It was first reported that, he was just, good. It was reported as if he was just a private citizen trying to make some money, and he kept running into the corruption game. So he said, enough is enough. I'm gonna work with the feds and try to bring truth to the justice and justice to the dark light and all this kind of stuff, right? But now you find out that he had his own issues. He had his own charges potentially. So the federal government used that. And again, they do that all the time. I don't know how I would judge a witness that's got dirt, but then you're talking about the dirt that somebody else did. It's just really going to come down to how I don't know how it's being presented in the courtroom. I have not been there, probably will not be there. But we'll see. I may go down. You never know. But it could change the way people perceive you. It's one thing when you just a citizen coming forward because you believe in truth, justice, and the American way, whatever the fuck that is. Because the American way is racist, so maybe we scratch that out. But truth and justice, right? And that's one thing. It's another thing when you are being paid and you also got your own charges. Some could make the argument that you'll say anything to get off the hook. We'll see what Mr. Sittenfeld's lawyers come up with. You know what I'm saying? Good morning to you. April writes, it was really good. You talking about that Martin reunion? Oh, it's classic. It's classic. It's a must watch. Must watch. Rooster writes, morning, choppers. What up, Edward? Good morning, April. Good morning, everybody. Yeah. I got the fire stick. I don't even know what kind of fire stick it is. It works. That's all I know. And as long as it's working, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I can watch all my little streaming services on there. Don't mess my ish up. Don't mess my ish up. Don't report me. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, the Fed's gonna hit me up. They're gonna strong arm me. Oh boy. I'm joking. Chris writes, you asked the best question. Does that change your outlook on PG? Aren't we all innocent until proven guilty? No, Chris, what I asked was, does it change your viewpoint of Chinedum and Dukwe? That's what I asked. If I said PG, it was an error. My bad. I meant Chinedum and Dukwe. Yeah, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. But again, that's the one thing I got from what happened yesterday is Chinedum and Dukwe, he had his own shit. Say if feds come to him and say, look, we can either take you down or you can help us take somebody else down. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And what would you do in that situation? You ain't even got an answer. I already know. You're going to go for self. All these people talk all this ish about not snitching. Like I said, La Cosa Nostra. These motherfuckers took a blood oath. La Cosa Nostra. And when they got knocked, and was looking at decades and decades in prison. What did the gangsters do? The gangsters start talking. They couldn't shut up. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just knock some of this time off. These are gangsters. Gangsters. So what you think average, John Q. Public is going to do? John, man, he going to turn over so damn fast. He going to flip over. He going to flip so fast. That's just human people. That's just human beings. You know what I'm saying? On some levels, I don't fault Shindum and Dukwe because I know that most people in that situation would do something similar. That's what I know. That's what I know. What would you do? What would you do? They say, look, we want you to wear a wire and indict your friend. What would you do? What would you do? Real talk. What would you do? More than likely, you're going to wear that wire and get that indictment on your friend. Like I said, the gangsters did it. La Cosa Nostra do it. These hardcore modern day motherfuckers, they doing it. These so-called street nigwas, they call all that shit about not snitching. They get down there and can't shut up. Because ain't nobody trying to go to jail for a long time if they don't have to. Especially, like, I don't know what Chindum and Dukwe's pockets look like, if he's got money or not. But especially somebody that's got a little bit of money, you ain't trying to go to jail. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's the last place you're trying to be. And they come to you and say, look, we got your ass. Now, you either going to do this or we going to do that. What are you going to do? So I think that's how most people would, what's going on with my voice, huh? Super deep? I don't know. Hey, what's up, Dorit? Good to see you. Edward writes, survival of the fittest, eat or be eaten. That's right. Snitch is an acronym that stands for sorry, Negro, I'm trying to come home. Pusha T. That's one of his tracks. It's called Snitch. Sorry, Negro, I'm trying to come home. I mean, that would be you. That's a very rare breed of person that they get knocked for something or they looking at criminal prosecution. And the feds come to them and say, look, I think your boy is dirty. If you help us, then we'll knock some time off on yours. That's very few people who'll be like, nope, I ain't doing that to my peoples in them. Huh? I'm not doing that to my peoples in them. Huh? Most people, where can I sign? I can't sign fast enough. Do you ever see the movie Goodfellas? What happened in the end? Ray Liotta's character, R.I.P. Ray Liotta. He did a great job in Goodfellas and some other movies, which I can't remember. He did a great job in that. What happened? Ray Liotta's character was based off real life. What did he do? He ended up entering the witness protection program. Dog eat dog. Ain't no friends in that game. So I think a lot of people might look at it like that. Some people say, yeah, sure, he had his own legal issues, but it doesn't mean that what he's saying about Sittenfeld is wrong. And then some people look at it and say, oh, shit, he'll say anything. He'll indict anybody. That tree did it. The tree did it. It was that tree right there. Tree's like, who, me? I wasn't even on the scene. Carmelita writes, feds don't pounce until they sure. I think that's part of when you're talking about dope boys and shit like that, gun charges. We had Steve Good and he called in the show on Monday. I asked him this question again. Maybe different lawyers have different observations, but it's basically what he kind of dispelled that myth. He said, well, sometimes the feds in cases like this will try like a test case to see if they can do it. You know what I'm saying? All this, I don't believe that. I don't even like saying that. If the feds come for you, you must be guilty. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that. I'm not going to give the feds that kind of latitude. Oh, they always got they case 100%. That's dangerous thinking. I don't like that. They got to present their case and win their case like everybody else. We shall see. Jasmine writes, they did try to kill him. That's true. They did. They did. They did, and his wife. So, I mean, all bets is off. Hey, good morning to you, Jasmine. Good morning to you. Hey, what's up, Ann? Ann Flopman for Judge. Good morning, Ann. Good to see you. So, coming up on the PG Sittenfeld trial, which I think is going to be interesting, is Port CEO Laura Bruner is being reported, and I added that way because that way it's just the facts. But it's being reported that she's going to be a witness for the prosecution, and she's going to testify that PG Sittenfeld tried to pressure her, right? On some deals, and and he tried to pressure her to work with a man who turned out to be an FBI informant to get a deal done. And I don't know if any of that is illegal. I mean, pressure, people apply pressure all the time. I don't know if that's necessarily illegal, but maybe, the prosecution will try to add that because it adds to their overall, the picture they're trying to paint about Sittenfeld. So we shall see. It was revealed that the FBI paid government informant and key witness Chinedum Ndukwe $27,000 between 2018 and 2020. And then it's also been reported that Charles Riggers, who was PG's defense attorney, he asked Mr. Ndukwe why he didn't pay taxes on the federal money. Ndukwe allegedly claimed that he didn't pay taxes because he thought the money was supposed to be kept a secret. Like, they don't give you no instructions when they give you money from the feds. Like, hey, pay taxes, don't pay taxes. You don't get no instructions. I don't know how that works, but very interesting. So he got paid $27,000 on top of, I'm sure they had some kind of conversation about, maybe this will help your own case. Maybe we can make these charges go away, or, hey, we'll talk to the judge in your case and say you a stand-up guy. You helped us over here. Seems like a lot of motivation. But what do you think? 513. Does that change your impression of Chinedum Ndukwe in any way? I think I've covered it from both sides, but what do you think? Good morning to you. What's up, Eloise? Good morning. Brent writes, guess what they told me? 20 G's if you snitch on your homie. We'll put you in a home and make your life plush. Oh, yeah, you don't got to sell dope for us. Ann writes, she agrees. Bruner will be interesting testimony. Yes, it will be. It'll be very interesting because people know who she is. And is she going to, what exactly is she going to say? What exactly is she going to say? We'll find out. Donta writes, everybody not built like Rico from Paid in Full. Yeah, he said, I ain't snitching on no Harlem guys, right? I ain't snitching on no Harlem niggas. But anybody else, I help you. And when I get out, I'm still going to be the king of New York. And when he got out, he was not the king of New York up until his tragic ending. Not a good look. Brent with deep cover, right? Right. They shot that here in the city of Cincinnati. Good morning to you. These dudes don't want to take a chance of being raped in prison. I'm sure that has something to do with it. I'm sure. Morning, what's going on with your voice? Super deep. Is it? I don't know. Could just be the ups and downs of it. What's up, Root Stafari? Good morning to you. Good morning. I just found out that Spreaker was the parent company of Spreaker. I've been using Spreaker since 2016. I just found out, and I'm not sure when this happened, but they got bought out by iHeartRadio. I didn't know that. Or iHeartMedia. I had no idea. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it's all good. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Ray writes, good risings all. Fox writes, rise and shine, young stars. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Your voice sounds like the people on Drug Inc. TV show when they're trying to disguise a poison voice, or it could just be me. Is anybody else having that issue that he's having? Let me know. Tabitha writes, I think police and feds should do their own work. That's what they get paid for, but turning people on each other does not seem like police work. I think it's police work. It's just what they do. It's up for the jury to decide as to whether they believe, who they believe. You know who they believe. You gonna believe the defendant, or you gonna believe these witnesses, whether they've got dirt or not. You know that they're dealing with themselves. Lynn writes, "Good morning, great people." Ed writes, "I'm not a thug. I don't snitch. I'm a citizen, a member of my community. I flat out tell no snitching here. My loyalty is to myself and my family." Um, I don't flat out. How do I feel about snitching? Well, to me, again, snitching to me is like, for instance, if I see you selling dope on my block, I'm going to do everything I can to bring law enforcement and you together. I want to broker a meeting between you and law enforcement. Okay. Um, Snitching to me is when you're involved in a criminal enterprise. You get caught. You know you wrong. You've got some other people in this conspiracy or in this enterprise. You get caught on some other shit. And then to save your own ass, you turn on the people that you were in this plot. To me, that's what snitching is. And it's real easy to sit here and talk about what you would do and what you won't do. I've never been in that situation, but some tell me that when you're looking at real time, Edward, when you're looking at real time, let's say you got a family, let's say you got a wifey, you know what I'm saying? She voluptuous, you got children, man, that shit hit different. I could imagine that shit hit different. Yeah, you start talking like thinking like 3 years. That's a long ass time. When it's your time, when it's somebody else, you're like, it's only 3 years. But when that's you like, shit, how old I'm gonna be? How old are my kids gonna be? If you're married, will your wifey stay with you? If you go to jail today right now for some dumb shit, your wife gonna stay with you for 3 years? That's a long ass time. That's a long time. What's she doing for all that time when you in there and she out here? Conversing with your husband. You go to jail, ladies, your husband gonna sit for you and wait for you for 3 years? Again, that's a long time. That's damn near a whole election cycle. You know what I'm saying? Presidential election cycle, a whole new president by the time you get out. I mean, again, it's real easy to talk about what's time and what's not time. We talking about somebody else's time. When it's on your back and on your head, shit hit different. Shit hit real different. Tabitha writes, "I hate the word snitch. It divides people from just telling on your ass." Right. It does. It does. I don't hate it. It's just another word to me. It ain't about the word. It's about how you conduct yourself. Um, Again, you know, when you read about somebody else, we can be all moral and have all these mores and values and drawing lines in the sand. When it's you and your name on the indictment, I suspect most people will do damn near anything. And that's what I suspect. Jared writes, "I was never really impressed by PG's politics. Seems like a lot of fluff and not a lot of substance." Brent writes, "After serving 3 to 5 years, you're going to come home to your new son with blue eyes and brown hair." I don't think I like that. I don't think I would like that. And that means something radical happened while I was gone. You know what I'm saying? You a family man, you got children, you ain't trying to leave your babies. You know, you a family woman, you got babies and a whole, let's say you got a business, your whole business gonna collapse. You ain't trying to do that. You ain't trying to do that. Not at all. All right, so people saying it's perfectly fine. So whoever's saying that, Brian says fine on YouTube. You know, Facebook is effing with me. You know, it is what it is. I'm on their bad side. It's all good. We can stay right there. Curses Google Voice to text. That right? That's hilarious. All right, let me talk about Uvalde. Let me talk about Uvalde. This is just, I know what I do. I know what I would do in this situation. And now the Uvalde school police chief placed on administrative leave. I mean, all kind of shit is coming out. Following the controversy of how he handled the police response in the mass shooting that left 19 children and 2 adults dead. And, it's amazing. It's scary and it's amazing that one man can punk out a whole police department. Like one teenager with a gun, with an AR-15, can damn near outgun a whole the police department. It was all shook. The police was too shook. Now you had a mother. The police tried to stop her. She found her way inside the building and went and got her baby and saved her baby. You had a father, you had a husband who got a call from his wife as she was dying. He tries to run into the building, save her. And he was stopped by other members of law enforcement. They would have had to kill me. Those officers would have had to kill me, and I would have told them that. You would have to kill me to stop me from going in there, period. Now, your scary ass out here because you don't want to get shot by him. I'll shoot you. Now get the fuck out the way. Simple as that. It's just some things you just don't do. Eva Mirlis, her husband was an officer with the school district's police department. She gets shot by this psycho sicko. She calls him. You can only imagine what that phone call was like. It was terrifying. Officer Ruben Ruiz. You can only imagine what that last call was like. Could you imagine? Frantic. I can't even put myself in that situation to articulate it into words. Let's just say it's life or death. I think in a situation like that, if I'm an officer, I'm not getting in your way if you're going back in there to try to save your kids or save your wife or somebody in your family. I'm not getting in your way. Apparently, he tried to rush in there. They stopped him, disarmed him, and led him away. I don't know how he allowed that to happen. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You putting yourself in the wrong position. But what would you do? Would you stop you're an officer. Maybe you've gotten orders to let nobody go back inside, from the top of the police department. Those are your offers, those are your orders. You're an officer. One of your fellow officers gets a call from his significant other saying they inside the building and they've been shot. The fellow officer tries to rush inside to save their loved one. What do? I step to the side and let them go in there and try to save their loved one. Period. It's period. There's no debate about it. You know what I'm saying? That man is never going to live with himself. Is that the man who committed suicide? You would never live with yourself if you allow somebody to stop you in a situation like that. Imagine that's your kid. Get out of my way. Get out the way. Because this is life or death. You know what I'm saying? I need to get in there and save my baby. You do not want to get, and I don't care. You're going to have to arrest me. You're going to have to tase me. You're going to have to shoot me. You're going to have to do whatever you got to do. That's most people, right? What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? Lynn writes, Nate, the gun the teenager had could punk out a whole lot of people. Yeah, but these are officers, what's the use of being an officer if you're afraid of a situation like that? And again, I know let me take it back, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So anybody's going to be afraid in that situation, but you are trained. Your oath is to act, period. Do something. Do something. I don't know. Thank you. Chris writes, what's wrong is he being an officer and only trying to go in because his wife was shot. So you're saying, I get you. So the argument is he got to go in and save other people. Right. When you go in there, try to save some other people. But I'm just saying, I just can't see myself. If I'm an officer, I arrive at the scene of a mass shooting inside of a school. One of my fellow officers says he just got a phone call from his wife saying she was shot and she's dying, and I got to go in there to help her. I'm not getting in your way. I'm not getting in your way. I'm going to step to the side. Go right ahead. You got to do what you got to do. To me, that is the right thing to do. What happened is he was detained by force. His weapon was taken from him. He was led from the scene. And again, I just feel like, and you never know. See, it's the unknown. He could have went in there and got shot himself. But damn it, I feel like that was his right. That's his life. He could have ran in there and she already died. But again, sometimes humans just got to do certain things. That's just something he had to go through. But to deny him that, I think is worse than anything else. Now, some can make the argument he could have went in there and he could have escalated. He could have got some more people killed. You never can tell. Never can tell. David writes, lying to cover inadequacy. Sounds like policy practice to me. Mecca writes, absolutely, Nate. I'm going to rescue mine. Yeah. Most parents are going to run in there. They'll run into a fire to save their children. A fire, let alone you might get shot or you might not get shot. Those are easy odds for most parents. They're going to take those odds 9 times out of 10. They're going to take those odds. Thank you. They're going to take those odds 9 times out of 10. That was just this right here, so you know. They're going to take those odds 9 times out of 10. Let me see. I can't comment on why the police didn't go in. I don't think letting civilian enter is right either. Again, this is some jobs I know I would never be good at. And police officer is one of them because I'm going to do things my way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sorry. I mean, it's just some shit I'm just not going to do. And it's just some things I'm going to do. And forget what the sergeant said. I'm going to do what I think is right. Later for that. So there's no sense of me ever putting myself in certain situations because I already know it's just not going to end well. It's just not going to end well. Charlie Wimber's in the house. He writes, checking in from Columbus on treadmill. Good morning, Thursday morning winners. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Again, what would you do? Very curious. What would you do in that situation? You're the police officer. Your job is to make sure nobody goes back in. One of your fellow officers gets a call from their wife saying, I'm dying, help me, save me. You know what that means. Most husbands, they're going to turn into He-Man or whatever the case may be. They got to go in and save their bride, save their loved one. He gets stopped. What would you do? For me, I'm letting you walk in. Go handle that business. Go do what you got to do. I don't see any other outcome, quite honestly. I don't see any other way of doing it. Go do what you got to do. Ronald writes, good morning, Chop Shop family. Good morning to you. What up, Anthony? David writes, they dropped the ball. What's up, Pamela? Good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good morning to you. Save those babies. Oh, absolutely. Or save your wifey or save your husband. You gotta do what you got to do. One other thing on my radar screen is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. Yet another conviction. Well, maybe conviction is the wrong word. Another verdict in a sexual abuse civil case. And apparently He got found. The jurors ruled in favor of a woman named Judy Huth, Huth, in her sexual abuse case against Bill Cosby. This case goes back to 1975. She was awarded $500,000 in damages as the jury, which is made up of 8 women and 4 men, found that Cosby intentionally caused harmful sexual contact. This goes back to 1975, y'all. Damn. Did y'all see this? Bill Cosby. And apparently she once admired Bill Cosby. And apparently she says that Bill Cosby back in the 70s, 1975, invited her and a friend to a tennis club and then to a private home. At the time, she was only 16 years old. Apparently, she says that she met Bill Cosby on the set of a movie called Let's Do It Again. Remember that? Classic. It's a classic movie. Let's Do It Again from 1975. And then he finessed his way and somehow, assaulted her. Bill Cosby was not present in the church. I mean, in the court, at the church. And he said in a video deposition that he did not remember her. So if he didn't remember her, how they find a conviction? Like, I think Bill Cosby is dirty. I don't believe all the allegations against him. I think there was some piling on because that's what people do. Just like with this brother right now, Deshaun Watson. He had that many massages from that many masseuses. Is that many masseuses out there? Really? Like, I didn't know the masseuse industry was that prolific. Really? I had no idea. I think some of that is piling on, but I think also where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll see what happens. He just paying people off. Looks like Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for a whole year. It is what it is. That might not be enough. I don't know what he was doing. Was he like getting a massage and then trying to convince women to give him a happy ending? And then some of the women were doing it, but then they felt bad about it. I don't know. But I just feel like it's 1975. So, like, is did she just get a conviction and $500,000 based upon the reputation of Bill Cosby? I don't know. That seems like so. So, what's the evidence? So, is the evidence I said he did it? He can't remember. So, I must, and he just got convicted for that, and then they overturned it. They reversed the conviction because of the prosecutors going back on a deal. So Bill Cosby was testifying in a previous civil case. The prosecutors made a deal with him in the civil case that no matter what he said in the civil case, they wouldn't take that information and use it against him in a criminal case. Well, prosecutors changed. That's a political position. A new prosecution team came in. They looked at the evidence and said, screw that original deal. You said some things that incriminate yourself. And they got a conviction. And then a judge later overturned it saying, well, he had a previous agreement with prosecutors. So that's what people don't understand. Bill Cosby cooked his own goose. Bill Cosby put himself in jail. Number one, by his actions. And then number two, by his own testimony. The only reason why he got out was a technicality. He didn't get out because he didn't do it. He got out because things that he said out of his own mouth incriminated himself and gave the prosecutors enough evidence to go after him criminally, and they got a conviction. Bill Cosby is not clean. I don't know if he did this with this woman, Judy Huth. I guess if we go by what the court say civilly, yeah, he was doing it. I'm like, and people underestimate the pain of that. These women just trying to get paid. Don't nobody want to get paid from being sexually assaulted. That ain't no quid pro quo. That ain't no business arrangement. Nobody want to be sexually assaulted. That's something you'll never get over with. You'll have nightmares, and it'll fuck up your future relationships and your self-esteem, and you might be cutting yourself, and all kind of stuff happens from that. And it just burns me up when I hear people still riding on Bill Cosby's side, because they don't know what really happened in the case. Like, media hasn't done a good job of explaining it. They're just like, oh, they always after Bill Cosby. They need to be always after Bill Cosby. He looks like a serial rapist and a pedophile. She's 16. You a grown man. That's pedophile territory. So I don't know. I don't know. Bill Cosby strikes again, but he did it to himself. He did it to himself. Remember that. They bust message business. Wait, huh? They bust massage businesses around here all the time, Nate. Is that right? Kamiki writes, it was a civil suit. She had a picture of Bill and her friend at Playboy Mansion together. That's the only evidence they had, was a picture and her testimony. And Bill Cosby's like, I don't even remember her. Because Bill Cosby, he's up in age. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Tabitha writes, well, let's go back 75 years and find some crimes against black people. I knew somebody was going to say that. I'm not surprised. Tabitha writes, what about Hugh Hefner? What about Hugh Hefner? Hugh Hefner is dead. And I don't know if women are coming forward and saying that Hugh Hefner did something to them. You know what I'm saying? What grown people do as consenting adults is just that. You know what I'm saying? You want to wear a saddle and let him whip you, go right ahead. You know what I'm saying? You want to put a ball in your mouth and shit and he can pull your hair. Okay, great. That's what you into. Nobody can stop you. But when you're dealing with a minor, that's a whole different thing. Keisha writes, what about Hugh Hefner? And why was her 16-year-old ass in the Playboy Mansion? First question, I don't know what the relevancy is. I don't know. What about Hugh Hefner? Secondly, you're right. Where her parents at? 16 at the Playboy Mansion? This shit don't end well. Tierra writes, good morning. Good to see you. Crystal Wheelwright writes, good morning. Good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you. Janice writes, aren't there some statutes of limitations? Well, we know they are, but I don't know what they are in this particular state. I don't know. David writes, and they can't convict that damn Trump. Two different circumstances. And two different people. Trump is not Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is not Trump. I keep telling you, Trump is a creature of litigation. He don't give a damn about no courts. He don't care about no indictment. He don't care about no allegation. Trump has been dealing with this since the beginning of his adult life. You go look at some documentaries about Donald Trump, and what you're going to see is that he's a creature of litigation and fraud. That's and racism and sexism and chauvinism. That's just who he is. And narcissism. That's just who he is. It is what it is. Well, I guess if folks can sue the Catholic Church for molestation from the priest almost 30 years later, then that lady could sue Bill Cosby. Absolutely. Lennox writes, good morning. Let me see. Lynn writes, Deshaun Watson better take some Cosby notes. I don't even know the details. All I know is I see like he settled with 20 of 24 women. I'm like, what? Like, it's that many. I didn't know the massage industry was that big, but I do understand it. Like, it's a part of sports medicine. Like, that helps the body recover. Like, really, it really, really does. Helps the blood to circulate, get the toxins out of your muscles, and it just helps your body rejuvenate and recover faster. So I can see that. But these are professionals. They're not there to be your sexual concubines. Some Negroes. Some Negroes. What can I say? Sister Irish Rice, good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Keisha Rice, that white woman got Emmett Till killed can get locked up too. If they can find charges against that woman, then they should lock her ass. They should indict her and charge her and prosecute her, in my opinion. Absolutely. Stop the hate, Nate. Stop the hate. What, Kush? Tabitha writes, but Cosby Show still playing TV 24/7. That's because entertainment trumps decency. Entertainment trumps decency in our world. So, as long as it's click worthy or it's an audience for it, then if it's connected to some sicko shit, it's all good. Unless it's like some terrorist shit against America or something like that, then we're gonna cut it all out. But all Cosby did was prey on women. That's all he did. That's small potatoes to Americana. We don't really care about women. If we lived in a culture where we really protected and cared about women, then all that Cosby shit should be flushed. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that he was convicted and then he was acquitted. And so once he became acquitted of that criminal charge, he's scot-free, innocent. Well, now he's got this civil case against him. But like I said, same thing with R. Kelly. You still got Negroes out here telling something. Can't nobody stop me from listening to R. Kelly. I love me some R. Kelly. The whole wide world of music out here, and you got to be stuck on a pedophile. The whole world wide of music. But you love the pedophile music. Okay, you go ahead and do that. You go ahead and do that. Same thing. R. Kelly was prolific as an artist. He had music that people really like. The Chocolate Factory. Oh my God. Classic from just a musical standpoint. Classic. Step in the Name of Love. Man, when that shit hit, it was everywhere. Everybody was stepping. Step contest. Everybody was doing it. Nobody cared about the women he abused. The little girls he abused. Nobody care about that because entertainment trumps decency. Entertainment trumps decency. Nobody cared. That's all right. Needs more. Needs more honey. There we go. That might work. Letty writes, peaceful rising, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Rachel writes, secrets from the Playboy Grotto was all about the dirt that went down to the Playboy Mansion. Hugh did mess with underage girls, but he had cameras around the mansion so he could have dirt on folks. That'd be a smart thing to do. Yeah. Brent writes, massages help the body recover, but the NFL teams has an entire staff to get your massages. Also, Deshaun Watson hit up 66 different social media massage therapists over an 18-month period of time. Timothy writes, all those women wasn't no professionals, right? I'm sure, I just know people. I would not be surprised if there's some women that's doing happy endings for select few as a part of their sports medicine massage therapy. And what might have happened is Deshaun Watson he had an intersection or an experience with one or two of those types early on. So in his mind, he's thinking, shit, they all like this. They all like this. That's how some people can think, but I don't know. Folks are still stepping in the name of love and bumping that 12-play cassette. I'm done with it. But again, I'm a principled man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very principled man, so I'm done with it. Like, there's a whole world of music out there. I don't need that pedophile music. I don't even listen to R. Kelly the same now when I hear him. I feel like he's singing to little girls. It's just, he messed that all up. You know what I'm saying? He messed that all up, not me. 12 Play was my soundtrack. That was the soundtrack right there. That was everything I was all about when that came out. But now I know better. So when you know better, you do better. Simple as that. Good morning, Kimberly. Mika writes, I'm lost at, isn't there a statute of limitations? How was she able to sue him? Not saying he isn't guilty of something, but hasn't time ran out? I would say obviously not, because she did, and it was a civil case. So maybe the criminal part of it. I think that sexual abuse and rape should be like homicide. There is no statute of limitations, right? If they get the evidence, they can always come get you. They can always come get you for that kind of shit. That shit goes on way too much. Way too much. Good morning to you. Barbara writes, good morning, great people. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, good morning. Kelly has some serious issues. I don't know who has more issues, R. Kelly or the people that continue to support R. Kelly today. Who's got more issues? It's getting better. Who's got more issues? I don't know. While you ponder that, and before we get into more topics this morning, I want to share with you a word from today's sponsors. Today's show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They offer a Sunday morning live stream. You can check it out on Facebook and on YouTube. On Facebook, facebook.com/Cincy Renew, and on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream. This Sunday's topic: detox your negative emotions, connect to God, self, and others better. 9 steps to positive and happy emotions. All right, you can check them out at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. And of course, the classes are run by Charlie Winburn, and check them out. I think you'll get something out of it. Today's show is also brought to you in part by our friends over at Wing Champ, the undisputed champion of all wings. You can call ahead for pickup and or delivery. You can visit their website at 3ws.originalwingchamp.com. Again, originalwingchamp.com. You can also get your Creamalicious brand ice cream there as well. Also, starting June 24th, that's tomorrow, through October 30th, the Black Economic Empowerment Market. They endeavor to be the largest inner city outdoor flea market. They have tables available for as low as $25. They'll be doing it throughout the summer, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend schedule. For more information, contact Tanya Dumas at 513-830-4206. Again, that's 513-830-4206 if you're looking for placement. They'll be out in the Marva Collins College area. And if you're interested, again, give Tanya Dumas a call at 513-830-4206. Now let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Hold on one second, brother. I think I had them plugged into the masses. All right, say it again, brother.
I said, good morning to you, talk show host. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, fam. Good morning.
Good. That's wonderful. The thing is, nobody's supportive of Bill Cosby like that. It's the fact that, he, like many black people, get jammed up on the slightest of technicalities. While white people enjoy the biggest technicalities to get let off. That person, whoever brought that Carolyn Bryant up from Emmett Till, they're exactly right. That woman totally recanted her story and said she never said she I forgot how she said it, but she basically said, yeah, she did it to get him fucked up. And the Mississippi Attorney General will not press charges. Did not at the time, and whoever the person is now still won't. She just recently said that in a Vanity Fair article. So, that type of stuff is like, okay, so it's kind of like OJ. Yeah, we know you did it. We know you're guilty, but if one of us is getting off like that, on a technicality, then fine. We'll take the small victory.
Right.
Even though in the long run it means nothing, but we're gonna have to accept this small victory.
Right. And it's even you're right. Some people are saying that. And because of who Bill Cosby's victims were, because they were women, and because women are marginalized, it's even easier to jump to those conclusions and try to make those comparisons to gloss over what Bill Cosby did.
You can't say women are marginalized without saying the black male has been marginalized, especially in the court system.
So you're doing it now. You're doing it again.
You're
marginalizing what Bill Cosby did. It was some black.
No, I'm not
girls
marginalizing what he did.
Yes,
I'm not marginalizing what he did. I clearly said at the beginning of it
by trying to compare it to the people that killed Emmett Till, and you're reducing it now by trying to comparing it to the plight of black men.
No, I think you're reducing Emmett Till because you're comparing him being lied to be murdered to Bill Cosby stealing some skins.
You're doing it again. I didn't bring up Emmett Till. We talking about Bill Cosby.
What's worse, getting killed or being raped?
Your question and your comparison.
I asked you a question, sir. Either answer the
exactly
either answer
my
it or
point,
not,
sir. You're glossing over what Bill Cosby did. And in our society,
black men don't matter. Black men's lives don't matter. Black men's lives don't matter.
Women.
And it's easy to think that it's okay to be murdered when you're a black person.
That's not the point. I didn't bring up Emmett Till.
Oh, okay. Now you're reducing. Now you're reducing. Now you're reducing. If we're going to do
Emmett Till justice, sir, then we should talk about that in and of itself as its own separate topic. Not try to bring it in here and compare it to what Bill Cosby did. It's disrespectful to the victims of Bill Cosby, and it's actually disrespectful to the image of the memory of Emmett Till as well.
God, please do not allow Miss Mamie Till or the rest of the Emmett Till family that is still living to be hearing this fucking nonsense that this man is spitting. Okay? Secondly, Deshaun Watson, all he is
they'll call you foolish.
Deshaun Watson, all he is Tiger Woods. He doesn't want to get into feelings with these women. That's why he's having so many of them. Just like Tiger Woods, 14, 15 mistresses. Why? Because he doesn't want to get feelings, catch feelings. He don't want them catching feelings. And that's what Deshaun Watson is doing. He don't want to catch feelings with these.
Then get some sugar babies.
Maybe he don't feel like that. He don't feel like, catching feelings
then that's his mistake.
Catching feelings. Again, I'm not supporting Deshaun Watson. He plays for fucking Cleveland. I need him to suck. I need him to be trash. But what he's doing is he just doesn't want to, acquire feelings, and therefore, which will eventually at some point acquire child support payments.
Huh?
You catch feelings, you'll catch child support payments.
Not necessarily.
Ask Ray Caruth. That's what he doesn't want to become.
I think it was clear that Ray Caruth didn't have any feelings, so that blows your argument out the water.
No, he did have feelings with the woman.
No, he didn't have any feelings with the woman.
That's why he had feelings for. He just didn't want her. He just didn't want to be paying for her kids.
He didn't have no feelings for that woman. The only feelings he had was for his own selfish ass self. He didn't care about that woman, and he didn't care about his unborn child, man. Don't you know what happened? He paid a hitman to kill her and his child. We talking about
is that what happened? I did not know that. I didn't know he hired somebody to do it. Oh, okay. I thought he did it himself. Stike. Now, as I said, Deshaun Watson, that's why he has so many of them.
And
the fact that, much like you said about Cardi B's husband, I forget which one it is, Takeoff or Offset, whichever one it is, he's young, muscular, and handsome. And he's got nothing but money and free time. That's the easiest way to cheat. Have the free time. He's got 8 months of free time. 5 months of the year, he don't do a damn thing but work out. That's all he's getting involved in. He's just a young guy flexing himself.
Okay. Well, he should flex with women that want to be flexed with like that. There's
Well,
plenty of women out there that would go for that.
I guarantee you, some of them at some point, word had got around and was like, "Girl, let's catch his ass and jam him up." Because it ain't like these ain't like these on the shit he like to do, which is get a happy ending, like the Patriots owner, who's getting off on a technicality. An old white man getting off on a technicality. Does the same damn thing as
Bill
Deshaun.
Cosby got off on it. You don't make no fucking sense. Bill Cosby got off on a technicality.
Yeah, the first time. Now he ain't getting on the technicality. He's not getting the technicality this time on the civil trial. He's getting jammed up on one.
But he got off on the more serious criminal charges and got out of jail.
Yes.
So that blows your argument out the water about it being about black and white. It's really about
the
haves and have-nots, yo. It's really about haves and have-nots. That's what it's really all about.
We had an octogenarian lose.
By saying it's a black-white thing. It's a have and have-not thing, sir.
I'm not.
No, you were.
We had an octogenarian lose 4 years of his life and have to fight to get a technicality.
He deserved it.
Oh, okay, Nathan. I'm just reciting facts. We've heard your opinion from the whole time.
Yeah, ditto.
I don't understand. You're just being argumentative.
No,
you want to be aggressive.
I'm just setting the record straight.
You come with that same fervor as you do with your hero, PG Sittenfeld. You can't accept the fact that this. Okay. you watch the art. Do you watch the Art of Dialogue?
Of course, I told you about the Art of Dialogue. You talking about? Do I watch the Art of Dialogue? Of course I do. Do you watch the Art of Dialogue?
I don't. Yes, I do. And one thing I noticed about the guy, one thing I noticed about the guy, he can't accept the fact that Tupac Shakur was a dickhead. And that's how you are with PG Sittenfeld. You can't accept the fact that he was a dickhead. Now you're going off on Chinedu and Dukwe. Were you doing dirt like that? Bitches, tellers, liars, whatever. That's part of the game, PJ. You wanted, like he said in The Wire, you wanted to be in the game. Now you're in the game.
I can always tell when I push your buttons because you try to push the PG Sittenfeld card with me, but that's
no. I actually wrote this down as something I want to talk about because I can tell when I push show buttons because when you start cursing, you lose all professionalism. You get personal.
I'm not fucking professional. I'm the opposite of professional. I ain't trying to be professional. Fuck being professional.
Case in goddamn point. Right there.
But that last little diatribe when you called into the show, you know what you calling into. You know who you calling to talk to. Fuck all of that shit. I'm gonna say exactly how I feel.
I'm talking to an angry black man. That's who I'm talking to. A fake angry black guy. A fake angry black
really
man.
Angry. What am I angry
about? Yes, you are. You're cursing. You're dropping 8 F-bombs at 8:15 in the morning. What the hell's wrong with you?
I think that's pretty par for the course.
People ain't had a cup of coffee and you up here dropping F-bombs.
You goddamn right.
It seems like you're using the Lord's name in vain. All that religious shit you be talking about, you're doing right now. What's wrong with you, B?
You got anything to fucking talk about, man? Is this the end of the conversation?
All jokes aside, are you in good health? Like Slick Rick shit. Are you okay?
No, I'm not fucking okay. Anything else?
Absolutely not. It's been real. I had fun. We'll talk again soon, B.
Stop hating women. What the fuck was that? What was that, man? Gosh darn it. So I think it's disrespectful to women to try to compare the Emmett Till situation to Bill Cosby. But that's what we do. It's so easy to marginalize women. Say, oh, these women don't matter because of some Emmett Till. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Nothing whatsoever. And talk about heroes. Your hero is Ray Caruth. You said it. This is a black man, former wide receiver. Y'all don't know the story of Ray Caruth. This man, what a sick, sad, sorry sack of shit. Just a complete waste of flesh. Anyway, This man is a wide receiver. He was a starting wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. I believe at the time he was making $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year. Probably was going to sign a multi-million-dollar contract real soon. And he was dating a woman at the time, and she got pregnant. And we know how she got pregnant. She was pregnant by him. He wanted her to give up the baby, and she wanted to keep our baby. So what did he do? He set this woman up. Hired another black man as a hitman to murder her. And that's exactly what he did. They set her up in a real grisly way. But she made it to the hospital. And before she died, she fingered him because this fool pulled up next to her. And I guess he wanted to look at her while she died, and she recognized what was happening and was able to tell authorities. But the baby, his son, survived to this day with lifetime debilitating injuries. You know what I'm saying? His son did not develop the way he should have developed because of the father's action. And that's Fame's number one hero. You want to talk about my heroes? I'll tell you who my heroes are. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate the call nonetheless. I appreciate it nonetheless. Again, I don't want to, when we talk about Bill Cosby, I think it's unfair to talk about anything other than Bill Cosby. When we talk about Emmett Till, I think it's unfair to talk about anything. We don't need to compare it to this, that, and the other. You talk about these things individually if you seriously, want to give it the credence and the respect that it needs, in my humble opinion. That's the way I look at it. But you might look at it differently. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection, Drop Squad 52, the most hated man in the chop shop. How you doing, sir?
You're not hated.
I may not be hated, but I am sure enough affiliated with my man, Fame Rothstein. Shout out to Fame Rothstein, Mr. AKA. But Nate, at the end of his call, he brought up PG Sittenfeld, another corrupt politician charged by the federal government. Well, I'm sure you remember the name Andrew
Allegedly.
Gillum. Am I correct,
Allegedly
sir?
corrupt. Allegedly.
Yeah, you're right. Allegedly,
Fair.
he has not been convicted yet, and he has not pled plea bargain. But do you remember a man by the name of Andrew Gillum?
Yeah.
Well, did you hear what happened to him yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I just got up. It's 5 a.m. out here on the West Coast. Well, 5:27 right now, and I would assume that you hadn't talked about it yet. But when Fame Rothstein brought up PG, it kind of sparked me to get in where I could fit in. And I just want to let the audience know that another elected official who happens to be a Democrat in this case was charged by the federal government with 21 counts, fraud, conspiracy, and false statements. And he faces up to a maximum of 20 years in prison. And this stems back from 2015 when he was a mayor of Tallahassee, Florida. And then the investigation extended all the way up until 2018 when he ran for governor of Florida and lost by, I think, 30-some thousand votes to the current governor, Ron DeSantis, and possible 2024 presidential candidate.
Yeah, remember those pictures that came out afterward?
Yeah, that was another one.
On some whatever the type shit that is. Ugh.
Yes, and he had a come to Jesus moment with an interview with his wife where he admitted that he was a down low brother, also known as a married homosexual, and he had to admit it to his wife. And Fame Rothstein,
she knew.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fame Rothstein said it well in a Twitter post yesterday that basically politics had screwed up this man's life, because if he had not been a politician, he probably would not have been living that secret life on the side, which led to lies and deception. And his co-conspirator, a female, she probably was the one who dropped dime on him, because again, it's one of those cases, get in the cash in. They were redirecting campaign funds, and They got caught up with out-of-town developers looking for some quid pro quo. Again, typical. It always happens in these cities where they bring in developers to upgrade the city. That's how they get these politicians, because a lot of politicians are just in it for the money, Nate. It's unfortunate for this man and his family. I think he has children, but hopefully he'll take a plea, do his time, get out, and hopefully, you know, get back to his family life and get the hell out of politics, because it's just amazing that they're going after him, Nate. It is what it is. And I wish the man the best, but I just wanted to bring that up because it's bad. This is one hell of a political election season, Nate. It is amazing some of the things that are going on right now. And before I go, your president yesterday, who you said that he has no control over gas prices, he just did a Nate, again, bro, don't
He just
challenge me.
Go ahead and say it out. You said what? Don't challenge you.
He went to Congress and pled with Congress to invoke a federal gas tax holiday, which would be 18 cents. Now, I told you yesterday what's going to happen. And now, after he made that speech, Nancy Pelosi came and said, nah, partner, that ain't happening. So again, he says, and his people says in one breath, I'm not saying you're his people, say, oh, the president has no control over the gas prices. Then his dumb ass comes out and tries to have control over the gas prices when he knows that the state of Pennsylvania has a 58% gas tax. So why is he not going to the governors and encouraging them to give a tax holiday on their state gas tax? 58 cents, Nate. It's 55 in California.
You're just so full of shit.
And even, Nate, don't say I'm full of shit. Because all I'm doing is coming with facts. Now, I'm not saying Rothstein. Don't lose it.
You know, to
Nate,
an
you taking on too much, bro.
To an untrained ear or to somebody that's not really paying attention to every word that you say. Hold on 1 second. Say good morning, bud.
Good morning, choppers.
Say good morning.
Ask him who his favorite chopper is.
He
Good
don't,
morning, chopper.
he don't
Good
listen to have a
morning.
favorite chopper.
Good morning, Junior.
Okay, man, we're not doing that.
Thank you, Junior.
Right here.
A chopper is somebody that's very smart and they like your dad because he comes with a beautiful flow.
Get to the chopper!
Sorry about that, man. Okay.
So, Nate, I'm not full of it.
No, you full of it. Let me
Everything
tell you
that
how
I've been
you full of it real quick, because my son almost saved you, but I got to make this point. Once again, drop, and again, I'm only gonna say this and take my time to do this with you because you know you my bro, and I don't want my bro sounding crazy out here, so I gotta correct you. So you called in here, you made this statement talking about, I thought you said that the president don't have no control over gas prices, but then you proceeded to talk about his desire to try to do away or to provide a holiday from the federal gas tax. So I want to make sure you understand. There's a difference between the president trying to provide a holiday for gas taxes. That's not having an effect on overall gas prices per se. The president don't have no control over that. What he can have control over, perhaps, if he can get some support through Congress, is the federal gas tax. And that's what he's trying to do. Two different things, sir. Still there? We might have lost.
Yes, I'm still here,
Oh,
Nate.
okay, still
Nate,
here.
I'm still here.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
If you're going to talk about this, you got to educate people. Yeah, Biden is trying to create a federal tax on gases, a holiday, because he don't have
makes the taxes?
He don't have any direct control over the price of oil. It's two completely different things. But again, for people that's not really paying attention, they'll go for that. So you just invalidated your own argument once again. You do this every time you call in. You say one thing, you make this grandiose statement, and then everything you say after that invalidates your grandiose statement. It don't make sense.
Nate, again, You're mixing words.
I'm not
I
mixing
said
words.
that-
Those are your words, sir.
Yes, you are.
Based with the
I
facts.
said, Nate, I said that the president's policies affect the price of gas.
That's not
That's
what
what
you
I
said,
said.
sir.
Play the damn tape. Okay.
That's
I
not
never
what you
said that the president has control over OPEC oil
That's
prices.
not what you
I
said
never
when you just
said
called
that.
in here, sir.
I said his policies, and I listed a number of policies.
That's not what you said when you called
that-
in here, sir. You was like, well,
Okay,
you said
Nate,
yesterday that the president
Nate,
don't have no control over gas prices. That's exactly what you
Nate,
said, sir.
Nate, does
Now
the
you want to
tax-
clean it up.
Nate, does the tax affect the gas price?
Yes, it'll affect the overall
Okay,
amount
yes,
of money that people
yes,
pay. But if we're
yes.
going to have this conversation, then let's have a conversation. Let's deal with the facts. He's affecting what he can affect from the federal government side, and that's the
Okay, so,
taxes.
Nate,
So
Okay,
you're
Nate,
talking about,
Nate.
well, why doesn't Biden go talk with the governors? Well, you got all these Republican governors and these Republican-led state legislatures, like here in Ohio. Our Ohio governor said, you know what, we're not going to play ball with Biden. You know, we're not going to change the state taxes on gas. That's where your energy should be.
Nate, because the states with the highest gas taxes are run by Democrats. California, 55.2 cents gas tax.
Yeah,
New
but it doesn't
York,
matter who has the higher gas prices.
45.8%
It only matters where you live at, Drop.
58.7.
But I live in Ohio,
matter.
and I don't care about that. What I care about is
Well,
the price of gasoline in
you should move.
Ohio.
Maybe
And
you
you've
should
got a
move.
governor, you got a Republican governor, and a vast majority of state people at the state level. They could do something about it, but they are not. You don't say nothing about that. But you got something to say about the fact that Nancy Pelosi
Nate,
don't want to go along with Joe Biden's plan. I mean, you're just very selective, sir. You're very selective in your critiques.
Nate, again, why did the president release oil reserves from our strategic oil reserve?
Why do you think he
to
did
try
that?
to control the price? He's done it twice.
Okay. So then the president is trying to do something about the price of gas then.
Because I told you, see, again, I don't know why you do this, Nate. It's not good.
It's something's not adding up, sir.
Okay.
You can't have it both ways.
It's smarter than that. You are not giving your audience credit when I call your show. You should not take it upon yourself to convince your listeners of what I'm saying. They can do it themselves, Nate. It's 2022, bro. People got information at their disposal. Just like Donetta yesterday.
You're trying to take us on a tangent and take away from your point. So let's get back on. That's a whole tangent. Taking away from nothing. Let me deal with the audience and what I need to say and all that kind of shit. But like I said, you can't have it both ways. You can't call in here and say the president ain't doing nothing. But then you just gave me two examples of what the president is doing. You can't have it both ways. Which is it?
But that's fine, sir. That's fine.
So is Joe Biden trying to do something about gas prices or not?
He's trying to redo the mess that he did when he came into office, signing all those.
So is that a yes or no, sir?
Shutting down oil refineries.
Is that a yes or no, sir? Is Joe Biden trying to do something to address the high gas prices? Yes or no, sir?
And even when he was running for office, he came out and said he was going to
Too many words, sir. Too many words. I just need a yes or a no. Is the president trying to do something to address high gas prices? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Ivy.
Leave it right there. That's it. Anything else?
Well, that's fine. We'll leave it right there. And I'm pretty sure the Georgia Peach, with his eloquent flows, is going to come in and try to stutter his way around this phone call that me and you just had. And he might even have the audacity to bring up Fame Rothstein. So I'm going to clear the airways.
Why would he have to bring up Fame Rothstein?
What?
Why would he bring up Fame Rothstein?
Because he has a problem with anybody who pushes back on his rhetoric that he spews on your show and in the chat. That's all. God. He got a problem with it. I don't know why he's trying to take over the overseer mantle when I already told him that he is not. Rest in peace, Glenn from Mason. Okay. I even stopped calling him the junior overseer because that would be in disrespect to this senior overseer, Glenn from Mason. So the Georgia Peach needs to step his game up if he's going to come in here and try to criticize anything that I say about our current president. He's my president too. I'm holding his old ass accountable.
Just keep that
and what
same
he
energy
did
moving
yesterday,
forward. When it comes to
Mr.
Joe
Ivy.
Biden and gas prices, keep that. Don't get on Twitter and forget you just admitted that the man is trying to do something about it. Don't forget that.
Because I know that the president, well, first of all, okay, did you hear what Barack Obama said in 2008 about the so-called gimmick of a tax holiday? Google it, Mr. Ivy, and play it for your listeners. Because even Barack Obama said that it's a freaking gimmick. So that's all I got, and I love your show. Drop Star 52.
Right.
Dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace out, people.
Appreciate the call. That's Drop. Appreciate the call from him. We got Steve Gooden backstage. Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We still can't see you.
God damn it! I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Again, there's no way I can
I'll
diagnose it when
right
I'm on the
back.
air right now.
Call you right back, man. Sorry.
Okay, call me right back. Yeah, I invited Steve Gooden to call in for a couple reasons. Number one, I wanted to get the other side of it. You know, I want to get the other side. I wanted to get somebody who had experience on city council. And then Steve Gooden, you know, he was nominated to replace Jeff Pastor. And he wasn't reelected. While he was on city council, his office sponsored a bill that could lead to more accountability and less corruption. So I thought he had a well-rounded view. And we've got Steve on the line right now. Hey, good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you. Sorry about my technical difficulties.
It's all good. It's all good. So here we are going into Thursday morning. Were you in the courtroom yesterday?
Yes, I was. Yes, I watched the vast majority of it yesterday. Most importantly, I watched the two opening statements, which combined went on for about 3 hours. And it was the first time they had actually played any of the video and audio recordings of what happened. You know, the FBI's got more than 20 hours of PG on tape. So we got to hear what appear to be some of the key moments and see some of the key moments already were played during the opening statement. So it was that was by far the most fascinating and interesting part of it.
Yeah. So tell us about from your viewpoint, what were the key moments?
Well, I think the toughest moment for Mr. Sittenfeld is, you know, there is a tape from 2018, you know, where he is flat out asking Mr. Dukeway, you know, the former Bengal, who's the developer and who we now know was an FBI informant, where he's flat out asking him for money and for large sums of money. You know, when Dukeway has reached out to him on the tape and told him, hey, I'm trying to develop this property near the convention center, address 435 Elm Street. It's been an eyesore for a long time. I'm really trying to get in there. I've got a plan, and I've got some out-of-town investors. Of course, the out-of-town investors we now know are all, you know, FBI agents. And that's when a PG on the tape immediately steers the conversation toward, you know, getting as much money as he can into his political action committee. And he's talking tens of thousands of dollars from these folks. And, you know, at the time and currently the cap on individual donations was $1,100. And PG is talking in tens of thousands of dollars and explains how that if you give to the political action committee and give in chunks and give that and funnel those chunks through limited liability corporations, that you can get around the you know, the $1,100 cap. So, I mean, that's, you know, by far, I think the toughest moment you have. And then we got to see some other tapes, including some video for where the FBI agents are following up with PG. And at that point, I think it starts to get a little murkier because they're at that point clearly feeding the notion, you know, that it's going to be a pay-for-play sort of thing. So, I mean, those tapes, it's a little murkier. It looks as though at that point that the FBI agents are full on, you know, into kind of setup mode and trying to take it as far as he will go. They're kind of feeding him at that point after he kind of kicked everything off with Mr. Ndukwe. So, you know, they're not using entrapment as a defense, but they're kind of trying to create the sense that there was, because really entrapment isn't allowed as a defense in a case like this, but they're trying to create that sense with the jury that the FBI agents really, fed the worst of this from him. So whether any of that works, I don't know. But it was pretty amazing to hear just how forthright Mr. Sittenfeld is on that initial call about getting his money.
So at the moment that is being played, are you looking at the jury to read them their nonverbals? And if so, what did you see?
They clearly, some of the jury didn't like it. Now I'll tell you, I feel sorry for this jury already. Yesterday was a tough day in court because I think both sides, both the prosecutor and the defense, tried to shove too much information at this jury too fast. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, those of us who are sort of political insiders and have worked in economic development a long time, when someone talks about the Port Authority, we know what that is. When someone talks about Mayor John Cranley, we know we have our own views about what he was and wasn't. And some of the nitty gritty of economic development, the kinds of agreements you have and the incentive packages that are offered. But to the average person, they don't know anything about any of that. And these guys spent like 3 hours basically lecturing them yesterday, trying to get them up to speed so they could appreciate what's on the tapes. And I really think they would have been better off laying back and letting the witnesses explain that themselves. So by the time they got to hear any of this stuff, they looked kind of beaten down, bored. Quite a few of the jurors are from outside the metro Cincinnati area because of the way the jury pool works. So, when there were a couple times where the defense attorneys were taking shots at John Cranley, they knew who the hell he was. You could tell. So, the nonverbals were, they weren't good for Mr. Sittenfeld overall, but they were also more dominated by I think they were just overwhelmed by the information. And I think they just looked sort of beat up and overwhelmed yesterday from all the stuff that was thrown at them.
It also came out yesterday about, some information about Chinedum Ndukwe. Originally when he was in the media, it came across as if, he was a developer that was trying to just do business in the city, and he kept dealing with all this other stuff. So he started working with the feds. Well, what it came out is that he had his own possible, charges, and he was also getting paid. In your experience, does that change the way a jury might look at somebody? You know what I'm saying? Would they look at him differently now, knowing that he had his own dirt he was trying to clean up and he was getting paid, like what his motivations might be, or does that not really matter in your experience?
It frankly depends. I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, and the defense attorney wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't point that out and go after that. And absolutely, it's going to damage his credibility with certain members of the jury. It just is. But and Ndukwe is going to testify, and he may be able to come out of that. He may be able to explain that. I've seen witnesses in those kinds of circumstances be able to basically talk their way out of the credibility hole, that their cooperation gives them. But I mean, it was the worst kept secret in town that Ndukwe had his own potential charges. We learned more about what those were about, including a charge of some sort of identity theft or falsification for signing some sort of, they didn't tell us what the document was, but it looks like he signed some documents in a development deal on behalf of someone else for credit purposes. We also learned yesterday, and this was news to me, and this is one of those moments that just kind of make you shake your head. The feds paid him $27,000 as sort of a stipend for his cooperation, because he really wasn't working. They basically paid his expenses and other things. We just learned yesterday that he's now in trouble because he didn't pay taxes on the $27,000, and apparently that just hit this week. So it's all there's a lot of there's a lot of things that they can point to about Mr. Ndukwe to hit his credibility and to hit it hard. So that was not a good moment for the prosecution yesterday when all that stuff came out.
And I think Mr. Ndukwe's response was he thought it was supposed to be secret. He thought he was, he wasn't supposed to report it. And I'm like, wait a minute, they don't give you any instructions for this kind of stuff, like pay your taxes or
right. And that, like I said, I think it reflected worse on the FBI agents than it did on him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's a crazy thing to think. I mean, what are you gonna write on your taxes? FBI secret payment? Did they give him a 1099? It's relatively unusual for them to pay cash directly to an informant. I mean, I've seen it happen, but typically they just try to cover their expenses on their own way. I mean, so like an actual cash payment, it can happen, but it's not illegal for it to happen, but it's relatively unusual. So I think it just makes these guys makes the FBI agents, look like they were stumbling around, particularly when you add that fact, to the issue that one of the FBI agents got reprimanded for having, from what we're hearing, we haven't seen the reprimand yet. They've confirmed there was a reprimand, but what's been alleged is that there's a reprimand for them allowing underage females at one of their parties and allowing them to drink and become intoxicated and so forth. With Mr. Duquay and others. So it's starting to. They really do have some dirt that they can throw on these FBI agents. Whether it's enough to overcome the stuff on the video and on the audio, I don't know. But they certainly have some things to work with.
Yeah, you hadn't thought about it, but you're right. You're right, Steve. It's like he's a federal informant that's working with you on a big case. It's like at the very least, so what about the taxes? That shouldn't be let that go. Why would the FBI, maybe that's the IRS now, why would they be going after him for his not paying taxes on the money that they gave him to be an informant on a case that's still open and in court? You're right. It just makes you scratch your head. Like, what are they thinking? We also
I don't
learned
know,
something
man.
about.
I'm a small business owner. I think the IRS has been my enemy for years. I can't account for their what they do, but yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. But that's what was said in court yesterday.
We also found out that another witness, I think there's a prosecution witness, Jared Cameras, who works in politics and finance, and he's going to testify about the fact that this was being reported that PG Sittenfeld was targeting people that had business before the city. But then we found out that he had some dirt on him. He has some charges. And so maybe that was his motivation for working with the feds. And it's like, am I wrong about that? Is that accurate?
No, that is absolutely accurate. And that was very much late breaking news. That came out in the paper, just last week. And I think they've been sitting on that for some time. It's been very, very upfront for some time that there's quite a bit of evidence that Sittenfeld was targeting people with business before the city. And I was kind of amazed. His lawyers admitted that in their opening statement yesterday. They said, yes, that happened and it's legal. And that's one of those things that, that we've been talking about with the ordinance that I introduced, where that's one of those things that is unfortunately somehow legal that shouldn't be. And we've tried to ban that to the extent we can under the law, because I think that is ridiculous. And that is really the heart of this. It's the idea there are developers operating in good faith who just want their project to get fair consideration. And the idea that a guy like Sittenfeld or someone else could call them up and basically insinuate you're not going to get a fair shake unless you give me a campaign contribution, that's just wrong. I mean, that makes us look like a very backwards place, where you got the epitome of pay to play. But no, I mean, there's going to be multiple witnesses other than the folks involved in this case directly who are going to say that they were targeted for contributions because they had business before the city. And there's going to be several people testify to like similar scams that they're going to say that Mr. Sittenfeld ran. And Cameras, is an interesting guy. I mean, I know, that's a tough one for me. I know the guy and always knew him to be a good and honorable person. And we do not know what his alleged criminal exposure is here yet. That they did not reveal. So we're going to be watching that part very closely. I think he's supposed to testify in the early part of next week, and I'd expect him to be a pretty key witness here.
Yes, it's all fascinating. I think today I'm interested in seeing what Laura Brunner, she's the CEO of the Port, has to say. I believe she's going to be a witness for the prosecution. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, they previewed that in pretty good detail. I mean, what we think she's going to do is she's going to testify in line with Phil Denning yesterday, who was the former head of the Department of Economic Development. And basically, what the prosecutor said that she's going to say is that, the port was going to have to be a partner in the redevelopment of this Convention Place Mall area, this 435 Elm Street, the property that's at issue here. And I think she's going to testify similar to Phil Denning, that Mr. Sittenfeld, after getting the money, called and put pressure on them to act and to expedite the project and to push it along. And they're going to say that that pressure was improper. And there's what has been attributed to her in the court papers previously was that she said she basically insinuated that PG allegedly called her and basically said, "Hey, I'm your boss, and we need to get this done for Mr. Duplex and his partners."
Well, Steve, listen, I appreciate your time, and let's stay connected. I value your insights as to what's happening.
Absolutely, we'll be there for all the key parts of the trial. We'll be, we also do commentary in the morning, some mornings for KRC, and some more in the evenings for Channel 9. So happy to jump on at any time. And take care. Thanks.
Absolutely, take it. That's Steve Gooden right there. Appreciate him. And again, I asked Steve to come on because he's a Republican, so he has no reason to be biased, and just because of his experience, as a lawyer. But then on city council, he replaced a council person who stepped down over corruption charges. And then his office pushed the ordinance to deal with the corruption. I figured he had a lot of experience as well. But what do you think? Like I said, all the dirt coming out. Well, not all, but some dirt is coming out. And who are these people walking around here with federal charges? We don't have no idea. Telling we always looking at the wrong folks, man. We always looking at the wrong folks. But I appreciate Steve coming on. Hopefully you can get something out of it. And perhaps he'll come on from time to time, and we can chat it up. Get his perspective as to what's going on in the world. If you want to share your thoughts, 513-873-7134. Somebody says, only audio, something's happening with his video. I can't correct it from where I'm at. I'm doing things remotely from the house at this point, so I don't know. Gooden seems fairly balanced. I like his commentary on this case. Yeah, he seems very balanced. And again, I wanted to make sure, primarily because of my association with PG, and just, I would do it no matter what, actually. I just want to make sure that we have a balanced conversation. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a balanced conversation from some folks who I feel like are not going to be biased, and will and maybe they'll be biased on the other side, right? And then we can gauge for ourselves what we think is true or what we believe or not. But I think to this point, it's been his opinion, of course, but it's been balanced. I think that's a good way of putting it. Brent writes, Steve Gooden is a Republican, has no reason to be biased. You're right about that. But that's precisely why I want Steve to come on, because if he's going to be biased, then perhaps he'll be biased in a way that's on the opposite end of how I naturally vibe, what my political vibrations are. But he's there. I'm not down there. But I'm willing to have more conversations as well. But I want to hear as much of a balanced take on it as I can possibly get. But you tell me if you think it's been unbalanced or whatever, check it, chop it up. This is the chop shop. Say what you got to say. Mika writes, we know Steve keeps coming on, so we'll remember his name in November. Perhaps. Jack writes, nobody wants to touch this Stan Chesley, Susan DeLotte matter of ethics violation and just criminal behavior overlooked. BR, that's Black Russia, be down at the courthouse first thing in the morning with his popcorn. Black Russia, if you're listening, I'd love to get your thoughts on it as well, brother. You always welcome. You already know he one of us. Absolutely. We'll claim him. I think the prosecution has a political agenda because I don't see how these allegations are different from what most politicians' day-to-day activities. Well, like I said, from the jump, I didn't know what to think. I was like most people, I'm just going along with the herd. But I went back and I read through the indictment that was publicized. You can read it for yourself. I read through it at least 3 times to try to understand as much as I could. I'm no lawyer, but I got some understanding from it. And the understanding I got from it is there's some things in that make Mr. Sittenfeld look bad. And there's some things in that make the FBI look bad. And at the end of the day, when you look at the way the election campaign laws are set up here, it appears to me that most of the stuff that he was doing was legal or came right up to the line. And so that jury, again, there's a lot of people in that jury that are not from Cincinnati. They don't know none of these people. They don't know any of this. They don't know the history. They don't know the Gang of Five shit. They don't know none of this shit. So they're just looking at this for the first time. And there's a lot of people that don't trust the FBI, as we've learned. There's a lot of people that don't trust law enforcement. There's a lot of people, white people, rural people, that don't F with law enforcement like that. They try to make it just a black thing based upon their history and experience and shit. This could come down to likability. Who do they like more? Who do they trust more? Could come down to that. Because when your number one witness is getting paid, I don't care who you are, that's going to stick with you like, getting paid. Then when they find out that your number one witness, Chindu Ndukwe, had his own criminal exposure, that's the way lawyers talk, criminal exposure. I'll talk like that. He had his own criminal exposure. It's like, And I'm telling you, I can understand how human beings think. That's why I asked him about the nonverbals. Most human communication, 75% of human communication is nonverbal. It's just moving around in the way you're moving when you ain't even running, where your eyes are going. Smart people look at that. That's why I asked him about it. And he's watching them. And he's trying to figure out how they're responding to shit. So I think the best thing that can come out of this is a series of reforms that prevent this type of shit from ever happening. I would suspect that if you're a member of city council or you even think about city council, you ain't gonna never do no shit like this because the feds might be watching. Anybody you talk to could be wearing a wire. So we shall see. Rachel writes, FBI is setting up their own informant. That is strange. That is super strange. So he's working with you in this big old case against PG Sittenfeld, and then y'all hit him up for not paying the taxes on the snitch money? And I don't think that that's snitching. People was like, oh, he's a snitch. Chindu Ndukwe is not a snitch. That's not snitching to me. He and PG were not involved in a criminal enterprise together that they both knew about. And then Chindu Ndukwe gets caught with a pound of something, a pack of something, or a gun charge. And then they use that to get evidence on the person he's got a criminal enterprise with. He simply was an informant. Chindu Ndukwe was somebody who had his own criminal exposure, and he didn't want to go to jail. So he's like, well, how can I help you? We talked about this earlier before Steve came on. Like, what would you do? And there's a lot of people out here talking all this shit about, I'm going to go to jail forever. Sure you would. I'm going to do 10 years, but I ain't going to be no snitch. That's people who don't have real values coming up with some old stupid shit from a movie because they think that means something. Man, please don't do that shit around me, because I'm not going to jail for you. I'll be honest, call me what you want to call me. I'm telling you right now, I ain't going to jail for you. It ain't happening, Captain. Sorry. Shit, if I ain't doing no crimes, then you don't do no crimes. Simple as that. I'm not with it. If that makes me a snitch, then so fucking be it. And like I keep telling you, don't do dope in my neighborhood, because I'm going to work with the boys. Don't do it. And if you do, so be it. I take it as a front. I take that like as a sign of major. You gonna sell dope in front of my yard? And you think I ain't gonna do shit about it? I ain't got to confront you. That's what the boys do. They'll confront you. But I don't think that Chindu Ndukwe was a snitch. He was an informant who had criminal exposure, and he's trying to work the best deal for himself. Now, does that mean that everything he did was wrong? I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? When your ass is in a bind, how's somebody else gonna tell you how to get your ass out of a bind? I can't say that. We'll have to see. We'll wait and see how it all shakes out. You know, again, I've asked this question before, and Steve Gooden answered it. At the time in which PG Sittenfeld was doing what he was doing, and I'm not trying to make this to soften the blow, because whatever happens, happens. No tears. It is what it is. But let's deal with the facts. And the problem was weak campaign election laws. There was too many gaps, too many holes, too many loopholes. You know what I'm saying? You got to close all that, man. You know what I'm saying? So these folks down there that's in these positions of influence understand exactly where the line is. No blurred lines. No blurred lines. And so, yeah, no blurred lines. No blurred lines whatsoever. And there was a blurred line. Like, it was legal for you to target people that had business before the city for campaign donations. That was legal. You know, it was legal for a council person to call Laura Brunner or get on the phone and say, look, I'm your boss. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good idea. Get this done. That's all legal. That's all legal. I have heard about the tenants living in his properties. I have heard about that. I don't have all the details, but I have heard about that, Mika. I have. Was he a slumlord? I'm talking everything else. I don't know. Nakia writes, the government uncovered a gang of political snitches. If that's your best witness, you have a weak ass case. Kamika writes, Gooden seems fairly balanced. I like his commentary on this case. See, it drops in the house. Graston writes, Rachel, I might call about 9:15 right before I go in to hear the FBI testify. Okay. Where's the female politician who hid out her felony boyfriend? I don't know. Oh, you talking about Lakita Cole? Good question. Lakita Cole case has been awfully low key. Well, that's how these cases go. They go dark, they go low key, and they work on things behind closed doors. You're right. I've forgotten about that case. I forgot about that. Yeah. I think her boyfriend was murdered for like a vehicular homicide or some shit like that in Indiana, fled to the state, to Ohio. Who is it? Police, we're looking for your man. He ain't here. They go inside. He's laying in there. And she caught a charge for that. And I thought that there was something else I saw from her about some of that PPP loan shit. I could have swore I saw that, but somebody keep it on a low. They're all wearing wires as far as I'm concerned. If I was a member of council, I would assume that every conversation I have is being recorded. There is no off the record. You know, I would assume that if I was in that position. You know what I'm saying? There would only be a few people, and these are like day ones that you could really trust with like that. You know what I'm saying? So the FBI issue in Dukeway a 1099 for his extension income for tax purposes. Right. Jack writes, MF's out here snitching and don't even have nothing to lose. Crystal writes, right, Nate, don't be doing anything in front of me. I'm not risking my everything for nobody. I know that's right. Shabba writes, hey, Nate, can people blow good marijuana in front of your crib? It's just God's gift. I mean, I'd rather you didn't, especially if my kids were outside, but I mean, that's what you want to do. No, that's legal. You can have up to 100 grams? All legal. I'm talking about people that be doing that, selling heroin. That's what I'm talking about. You can always tell because you see some scraggly looking motherfuckers, you know, in a car, and it's always usually like something wrong with the car. Somebody walks over to the window and they drive off. They're on a mission. Go get that dope. Go get that dope. I know what I'm seeing. Charles writes, all that translates to snitch, Nate. If you're involved or give info in another case to get a lighter treatment because you're already in trouble, it's switching. If you have no involvement and you just saw something, that's not snitching. Okay, we got Elijah writes with Kentucky license plates, right? We look at it differently. We look at that differently. Ndukwe was an informant. He was working with the government to set up PG Sittenfeld. PG Sittenfeld and Ndukwe were not involved in a criminal enterprise together, and then Ndukwe got caught for something else and then told about the criminal enterprise. To me, I look at that as different. That's just me, though. Right now, usually with a dirty ass car, right? Yep. Charles writes, she is chilling, just came back from the beach. You talking about Lakita Cole? I wonder if she still can't stand me. I don't know, probably. There's a lot of folks that can't stand me these days. Supposedly new purchase property that he did so renovations on, but tenants broke them to continue activities that were happening there. Is that right? I don't have all the details about what he did. Good morning, CG Dub. A city county soap opera, shaking my head. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Crystal writes, way too much fine print. Could be. I mean, from what I'm hearing right now, I would not be surprised if PG Sittenfeld walks because it's blurry. The lines are very, very blurry. But that could change in a day. We never know. We'll have to wait and see. So you think that's a snitch, huh? Again, I just Gregson writes, Lord Brunner too. I mean, what's your opinion though, bro? I mean, you there. You supposed to be giving us that daily or every other day or weekly blow by blow. We had Steve Gooden on. You were there, you saw it. What do you see? What are you picking up on? Bruner 2 of the Port Authority and cameras plus birding, PG got uphill battle. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that Jeff Birding was there because I'm wondering if Jeff Birding is going to try to make it seem like what the city did in terms of trying to get more money and more of a commitment from FC Cincinnati was wrong. When in fact, that's what the city's supposed to do. You want a big time development and you want exemptions and you want some of this tax money, from the hotels and all this kind of shit. And you need the schools to do this, that, and the other. Well, then you got to do that with a cost. There's a price for that. That's just how I look at it. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. How we doing this morning?
Doing great. What up,
Excellent.
Chris?
This is Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
I was trying to call in right after what the hot air guy. I don't even remember his name.
Steve Gooden.
Talking all that. Huh?
Steve, you talking about Steve Gooden or you talking about Drop?
Drop. Yeah, Drop. Hot air.
Drop.
Hot air. Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them full of hot air. I mean, they should have Goodyear shaved on the side of their head, because that's what it is. It's full of hot air. All that mess they talking. I'm glad you put him in his place about the taxes, between the taxes and the price. Right. He still didn't get it. He didn't get it.
He got it. He just didn't want to admit to it.
Also, I wanted to just ask: have you been following the trial up in Washington up there about January 6th?
Yeah, off and on. What's new?
I want to know if you heard the last one, how many attorneys or how many people thought the same thing I did when the young lady who was the worker, how many thought that first thing she should do when she walk out of there is find an attorney and sue the United States government or the presidency, because you can't just sue however it is. Different names go on it. So I guess Joe Biden's name will go on because he's the sitting president now. Donald Trump personally and Giuliani personally for defamation, mental stress, physical stress, and loss because they can't go to work because they can't even use their name out in public because those two men said that they were trying to steal the election. And to say that publicly, that's a loss. To me, I'm looking at it, and I don't know too much about it, but that's an easy defamation case. I mean, right there, that's 2 days. We open, have arguments. First witness, we're just gonna play this tape. Let them testify. Hear what you got to say. Next day, we're gonna have closing arguments. Jury, what you think? That open shut. I think so. What you think?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I just feel like people need more of that information. You know what I'm saying? They need as many details as possible. That's what I think. So
I'm sure we'll go more details. They would try, but just listening in on that case of what on her side of what he caused her and the harm that he caused her just by saying, look, she's passing this. They're stealing votes. She's the worker, and named her and her mom just solely out.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't say this worker, personally named her name and her mom's name, said they was thugs and hustlers.
Yeah.
I mean you talk about craziness right there.
But Trump's been doing that since the exonerated five. Like I said, Trump didn't change into something new when he became president. It just amplified who he already was. So I wasn't surprised to hear about it. I felt for that family because they became like the object of a lot of hate because of Trump. And it just goes to underscore the influence you can have if you're in a position like that. You got a lot of influence. So, but that's Trump though. And that's what makes Trump so scary. That's why Republicans are scared of him, because Trump would do anything. Like if you get on Trump's bad side, he'll do anything. He'll go anywhere and drop your name and drop your address and talk about your kids and talk about your wife. There's no end to it with him. And most people don't want to get into it with a person like that. So these Republicans stay in line. Look what he did with Mike Pence. He almost got Mike Pence killed. Literally.
Yes.
Literally was, if the Proud Boys had found him, they would have did physical harm to Mike Pence just based off of what Trump said. So that tells you right there, he's a very powerful man. And that's the reason why these Republican elites are shaking in their boots.
There, you know what? I guess powerful would be the word. I wouldn't give him that much power. I would say he has mind control, power over these people listening to foolishness and lies. I mean, that is really disturbing. It's really disturbing to have people who will sit there and hear the truth, and then say, "Oh, but in my heart, I don't believe it."
But they don't even hear the
what you hear me. Right.
They don't believe it's true. They don't believe it's true. They don't believe that. There's people out there that don't believe none of that stuff on January 6th. They think that like it was Antifa and Black Lives Matter people there, and the media is just doing something with the images to make it seem they're blowing it out of control. Who was it? You just had somebody in the sports world who made a comment about January 6th. I think it was Jack Del Rio, former NFL head coach. He's like, yeah, January 6th was a little small thing. And then he came back and had to apologize. So there's a whole nother world out there, a whole nother matrix where people don't believe that it even really happened. And they think it's just all a witch hunt to go after people that have the same politics as them. And they think that Trump is their Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm not joking. I said this shit years ago before he got elected. He's their leader. He's a leader of white fear.
That I agree 100%. And the crazy part about it is, when listening to it, Giuliani kept on saying, when he's having these meetings, a couple things. One is, hey, aren't we all Republicans? I mean, why can't I get a little bit of agreement? We're all Republicans here, correct? As if just because I got that R, and that's what these people think. Just because you got that R in front of your name, no matter what you do, is true. He even told somebody to go ahead and lie and let the courts handle it later. Go ahead and lie about this. So, we're going to get in office and let the courts handle it later. He even went as far to say as, we have several theories. We just don't have the truth behind it. These people really saying that in court under oath, that this is what's being said, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Or or the Democrats stole the election. I'm just a little, and which makes me think about coming back this way to Cincinnati. This case, granted, there should never be corruption in politics, but there's always corruption of some type in politics. And they're going after not only Cincinnati, but Toledo and Cleveland, I believe, the small town government. When the FBI, who sits, less than a mile away from the White House, the National FBI, I should say, less than a mile away from the White House and the Capitol, and they got all that corruption going on up there, but they won't come down and get the small dogs. It's almost like the police with drug dealers. They don't go. They say we're gonna go after the small ones to let them go to get to the big ones, but they always just get. They never get the head person, or rarely get the head person. They just get the people on the street sitting in jail. We did our job. We got all this off the street, but we're gonna put it back in the street anyway. That's exactly what this seems like they're doing.
All right, Chris, thanks for the call, man.
Have a good day.
You too. Appreciate the flows from Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Trump's on a whole different level with it. Whole different level. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts, I'm here to receive it. I'm here to receive it. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. More your chat here. What do you think? Terrace writes, Republicans are not as scared as Trump as you think, because if that was the case, Pence and McConnell would have supported his efforts. The Republicans are terrified of Trump. Yeah, you might have some examples here or there where they went against him, and I know Pence took a stance. The Republican Party, the elites in the Republican Party are terrified of Trump. And they should be terrified of Trump. They should be. Because McConnell is not the head of the Republican Party. Pence is not the head in the face of the Republican Party. Donald Trump is. Donald Trump said and made up lies about there being some type of attempt to steal votes. And millions of people believed it. And thousands of people showed up. How many people in American politics can do that? How many people in modern American politics can make up a lie, sound the alarm, people respond, people show up and get violent at the Capitol? And he's never recanted. To the point where, and this came out on the first day of January 6th, they had a wire on one of the Proud Boys who is now working with the feds. And this person said that he was there that day and had been working with the Proud Boys. He said if they would have got their hands on Mike Pence, they would have executed him on the spot. And that ain't power. Come on now. Trump keeps on doing things that the Republicans can't believe. They couldn't believe he got elected. They blew his mind that he beat Hillary Clinton. They didn't see that shit. You talk about a Hail Mary. His impeachment trials. They blows their mind he was able to get through all that shit. And here it is, January 6th, with all this evidence and lots of people who are on the ground and went to jail. But none of the elected officials have faced any prosecution. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trump gets out of this too. When you see somebody that keeps stepping through fire and walking out unscathed, that's going to change the way you look at them. And Trump is the petty, he's King Petty. If you get on his bad side, Trump could be in a negotiation with the first encounter with aliens. And if you're on his bad side, he's going to find a way to weave in your name and a dig at you in that conversation. We saw that happening when he was president. He'd be talking about something completely unrelated and would always come back to whatever was on his mind. That repetition. That shit is powerful, yo. That shit is powerful. People should study the way Trump has a connection with his audience. It's very valuable. No, instead of just completely just pushing them out the way and saying it's just some clown shit. It's more than clown shit. Let me see. Where are we at here? Terrified for not for them to say they would support him if he was the president nominee is a problem for me. What else are they going to say? They better say that. They better say that. Andrew Gillum is back in the news. Once a Florida governor candidate, now he's indicted. This is all downhill for Andrew Gillum. He was a 2018 Democratic nominee for Florida governor. He's been indicted on 21 federal charges, including conspiracy and wire fraud for funneling donations through third parties back to himself for personal use. Everybody knows that's a no-no, even if you don't have any idea about election laws and campaign finance laws. That just seems like a no-no, right? So wait a minute. I can take this money and use it over here? Everybody know you can't do that. Everybody know that. Damn, Andrew Gillum was on top of the world. He was on top of the world at one moment. Everybody thought, okay, Florida governor, then we might have a new Barack. And now, like that picture of him passed out with the vomit on the bed, and he's got all kind of shit going on in there. Then him and his wife sit down. She's like, yeah, I know what my husband's into, but this is our relationship. Okay, cool. I'm out of it. And now this. Better watch yourself. Angela writes, tricky Trump as a clown, period, has always been. Okay. All right. Telling you Trump is, I'm not saying he's the smartest tool in the woodshed or something like that. But what I'm saying is his connection to his audience is something that should be studied. That's all I'm saying. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, comrade.
Black Russia. Good morning.
What's up?
Well, I wanted to get your take. Were you in the house yesterday?
I was.
And so what did you see? What stood out to you?
The opening statement stood out. The government, I just think, had a better opening statement. And the prosecutor just was concise to the point. She was 45 minutes. She discussed how they're going to show people that they're going to link the money to the actual vote at 435 fine. And here's the thing about it. It's not about, this is what the government's saying. I'm just going to give you what they said. This ain't my personal opinion. It's what they said. The money was the bribe. How it was delivered through campaign contributions is just a form of which how the bribe was taken. So it don't matter if it was campaign contributions or if it was personal money going into somebody's pocket or anything like that. It comes down to you say you're going to do this, you agree to do this for that. Now, PG's defense is trying to sell it as typical political business. And his attorney's opening statement was long. It was like an hour and a half. I mean, they trying to bring out audios early. I think they were probably trying to do some damage control there, but the parts that they played just, to me, show that PG was just more engaged with the developers' business than with the city business. That he was, in essence, working for the developers, should have doing the undercover agents. And the thing is, the money didn't even have to take place, according to the government. It was just the fact that they had the agreement. Once you get the agreement, this for that, they got you. That's what the government's presenting. And so this morning they're going to have the special agent in charge who ran the investigation testifying. I think he's already kind of started. So I'm gonna get in here a little late, but usually it's just to set up, to build up in the testimony before they get to the investigation. So I'm gonna shoot it here momentarily.
Okay. So what did you think about the revelations about Chinedum Ndukwe being a pain informant and also having some criminal exposure? Do you think that's going to
I
have an
don't think
impact
it's
on the jury?
no, because the federal government in their opening statements laid out the fact that this is how the federal government operates. They need informants to get crimes investigated, especially crimes of public corruption. So there's always going to be somebody who's going to testify for the government who has exposure, like Jared Cameron. He got criminal exposure. He's testifying against PG. Chinedum Ndukwe got exposure. So this is typical of how the federal government operates. They usually get people to flip, and at times they pay informants for their time, and that's how they get the information they need to prosecute. So they dealt with that up front. That you're going to hear. And they also dealt with the fact, or the defense dealt with the fact that Jeff Vernon's going to testify. And he's going to be some disgruntled developer who didn't get his way, and that's why he's testifying against PG, which I thought was kind of interesting that they brought that up. My understanding of it is that PG initially was against FC Cincinnati when it was put in Oakland. So that may have created some problems between him and Birdie. So I think we're going to hear a little bit about the beginning of the deal when it was first proposed in Oakland.
Okay. Anything else stand out to you?
I think PG got an uphill battle, bro. I mean, the opening statements from the government was pretty powerful. They said we're going to show you this and we're going to show you that. So if they show this and that, I don't know how he walks away from it. I mean, we're going to get Laura Bruner in there. She's going to talk about how PG said, "I'm your boss. Like, I control your funding for the port. I control that." And then even yesterday, Kevin Glenn testified about the structure of government and how development deals usually get vetted through the Department of Community and Economic Development. And then they had Phil Denning, who used to be with the city, who's now with the Port Authority, who said he had conversations with PG, and PG was trying to figure out how to get this deal done for Kennedy.
Okay.
So it looked like he was working for the developers pretty much, and that he took that money for campaign contributions in exchange for official acts. He's going around in his official capacity as a council member trying to get a deal done for the developer. Is that politics? I don't think so.
But how?
But that's my perspective.
But I mean, how is that any different than? I still think there's some gray area there. I think your bias is talking, but like for one thing, if all the witnesses got dirt on them and they got self-motivation, if I'm a juror, who do I believe? You telling me the defendant is dirty, but then these witnesses are dirty. But then, for me, it's like I remember when you had people that was being displaced because of FC Cincinnati. And you had council members that start flying in step and trying to work on behalf of these small business owners, making phone calls, talking to people, trying to persuade people to do things. How is that working for developers? Is that working for a business person? Or is that a constituent that's got an issue that you're trying to deal with in real time? I just feel like there's still some gray area there. I still haven't seen the smoking gun. It might come.
If you pull all that stuff, it might come. But if you pull all that stuff out of the air that you're talking about, I mean, that's irrelevant to this particular case with PG. We're talking about the specific convention center plaza, 435 Elm Street, whether he agreed to push that vote, whether he agreed to deliver votes. He said he can get votes to his left and his right. He can deliver the votes. And I need campaign money. So, and another thing that the government pointed out, too, was that you can't pay attention to what people are saying. You got to pay attention to what people are doing. Because people will say, they're not going to never say, "Give me this bribe and I'll do whatever you want." You'll never get that. They'll never say it like that. So it's all about the details. He suggested in Ndukwe on a phone conversation that he needs campaign contributions after Ndukwe talked about getting his deal done. So Ndukwe is talking about how he's getting held up on the deal. He thinks John Crowley. Who knows? He thinks John Crowley's holding up the deal because he supported Yvette Simpson in the mayor's race. He tells PG. PG in exchange says, "Well, I'm going to need some campaign contributions I don't want to say, hey, it's Chinadu, I love you, but but he kind of said that he needs campaign contributions. So the reality becomes, is he pushing Chinadu's deal in exchange for the campaign contributions?
Well,
and as of right now, he's on wire saying he was going to do that, and then he took official acts, going around his way as a council member to people like Laura Bruner and others, trying to get a deal done for Chinadu and Mazzucchelli, not knowing that the money guys, the white guys, was the feds.
right. I mean, I understand that, and I think from what I've seen for so far, that's the part that makes PG look the worst when he says, "I can get a vote to my left or my right." But
Oh
like you
yeah,
said, we shouldn't go off what they said. We should go off what they do. And the
right.
only reason why I brought up another example is because it's an example of what politicians do. So how did PG vote? I don't even remember. Did he end up voting for the deal?
Yeah, it was unanimous. So all 9 council members voted for it.
So if it's unanimous, then I don't know. So maybe they all thought it was a good deal. Maybe all
Well,
this.
yeah. I mean, it was according to the economic development department, and they got the testimony from Phil Denny when he was before council when they did the vote. It was a no-brainer deal because they were selling it to the port for $1, and the building was costing the city $400,000 a year just for the maintenance and the upkeep because the city owned the building. They wanted to get rid of the building. Kennedy wanted to develop the building, but he couldn't get the deal done with the city.
Mhm.
So it turns out that he now wants this deal done, and he could get it done, he felt like, through the port. So PG is advocating, after getting these campaign contributions, he's taking official acts, advocating, trying to push this deal through for Chinadu, trying to figure out how he can get the deal done, and telling Laura Bruner, I'm the boss, I'll pull you, we control your financing, trying to be heavy-handed in terms of getting the deal done. After he done took these contributions, after he just already agreed to do it, but then on top of that, taking the contribution. He's got to overcome that. He's trying to say it was just politics. I don't know. Looks like he was doing business for the developers who are FBI agents at the end of the day.
Right. All right, Black Russia. Thank you for the call.
Take it easy.
Yeah, appreciate your observations. He's actually in the courtroom, and I take it for what it is. I appreciate the insights because I haven't been there. Charles writes, you can hear the giddiness in his voice talking about PG's case. I thought it was just me, Charles. I wasn't even gonna say nothing because people are gonna say I'm biased. But since you said it, I can hear it too. I don't delight in anybody's downfall. I don't care whether I know him or don't know him. I hate to see that happen. But you can hear the giddiness. He's probably down there trying to make eye contact with PG to let him know I'm here. All waste of time. Ultimately, nobody gives a damn. Means nothing. Good morning to you. But I did hear that though. It's so funny though, and I will make this point, but I remember when Black Russia had his issues, I remember his brother and people close to him was in the chop shop like, nah, he's wrong. Let's wait until the information come out. Let's not dance on somebody's demise. I remember that. And I was the brother that was agreeing with them, like, hey, let Black Russia go through what he go through. I don't want to delight in another man's downfall. I'm consistent in that. I'm consistent. I just want to make that point. What up, Ray? Ray writes, in Duke Way, or whatever his name is, was and is a pedophile along with other crimes. Also, by the way, a longtime friend of Sittenfeld. Now I ask you, what type of friends do you have that are in a criminal pickle and come to you with the setup to save their ass? I agree. To save their own ass. That's why I use the word friend very, 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 very scarcely. Very scarcely. People throw that word around and shit, and sometimes people try to use that against you and they try to flatter you with that shit. I can't be flattered that way. You know what I'm saying? I know what it means to be loved. I know what it means to be supported. I know what that looks like. I know what that sounds like. You know what I'm saying? And when I don't see it, then It is what it is. Kush writes, politics makes for strange bedfellows. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And he's right. There was a time, I remember that. There was a time when I believe that PG Sittenfeld was either undecided or he was against the FC Cincinnati deal. And I remember, when he decided that he was going to support it. Now, I don't know the politics behind it. I don't know. But I do remember initially he was like, I'm not with it. And then he changed. Now, what changed? I don't know. Maybe he got more information. Drop Rise, Nathan Ivy, fair and biased. I am fair and biased. I'm very fair, and I have my own bias that I put out there so people don't think I'm trying to act like I don't have bias. You know what I'm saying? I keeps it 100 with you. Let me see here. Black Russia is this similar to Donald Trump and his perfect call when the Ukrainian president on Donald Trump with his perfect call with the Georgia top election officials? Yeah, it was a perfect call, right? Yeah, they got Donald Trump on audio, basically strong arming Georgia election officials to find 1,100 more votes, or was that what it was? 11,000, whatever. Find more votes. Come on, guys, we are Republicans. Like, being a Republican trumps being an American. And it don't. It should not. It should not. Not in my opinion. That's just me. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Is this Mr. Griffin?
See here. Hold on 1 second. Call on another line. They didn't know he was on the air this morning. Let me see. I think I got most of your comments in there. Let me jump over here. Hey, CG Dub, what's going on? Who remembers when Tyrone shot a police officer and within a time they rallied up a robot and blew him up? You talking about the dude in that was in Dallas, right? Houston, Dallas, something like that. I remember that a couple years ago. Oh snap! Crazy messages. I don't know how the fuck this happens, but there it is. It's easy to be Republican until another young black man is killed by police. Mr. Goodfoot, yes, I am known as Mr. Goodfoot, yes. I think I read through all of that chat there. Okay, so there it is. I got most of your chat in. Again, if you leave the comment, I'll try to get it in as much as I can, especially if it's relevant to the conversation. It's easy to be a Republican until another young black man is killed by police. I don't understand. If I'm a black Republican, I'm going to be outraged by police brutality no matter what. I wonder what the deal caused us to lose half of the West End. Well, you say lose. Some people say it's been a net gain because you got this brand new valuable stadium down there and it's going to bring businesses and it's going to bring up the property values. People are going to make a lot of money. On the other end, a lot of people are going to be and have already been displaced. So it depends on how you look at it. Let me see. Has anyone seen Snowfall? The perfect example on how the government works. Don't take my black card. I haven't seen any Snowfall. I'll probably catch up to it later. Take it Throwback Thursday. Who remembers all the security at the Million Man March versus January 6th? I mean, not just Million Man March, but again, in the summer of 2020, the summer of social unrest, Black Lives Matter marched in Washington. And when they did, they were met with an overwhelming police presence. Like I said, it looked like the United States was being invaded by aliens or some other foreign actor. They were ready. When the good old boys decide they're going to descend upon January 6th and try to kill Mike Pence and try to get Nancy Pelosi, they're met with nowhere near the same wall of police resistance. And we know why. It's because people in the upper echelons of the organizations that were supposed to give security, they felt as if the type of people that they were expecting to show up on January 6th were the type of people were law and order people that love police, and that they would never cause damage and they would never cause violence. This came out in the January 6th investigation. It's well documented. I'm not making this up. You can read it for yourself. That's the reason why. It was purely some white skin privilege type shit. You know, when it's Black Lives Matter and black folks, woo boy, it may not be fucking around, right? Not fucking around coalition or something like that. They all might be dangerous. When it's the good old boys, and again, they were chattering using Facebook and social media. We knew about it. Everybody knew about it, but the people that were supposed to know about it, everybody knew it was going to be a big thing on January 6th. They were going to go there and try to stop Congress from processing, the election, right? Going through the legal maneuvers to process and to verify Joe Biden as the winner of the election. They went there to stop that, period. And tried. People got shot and killed. They kept coming. Remember that woman that got shot by the black Capitol police officer? No charges. Why? Because he told her to stop. She's trying to climb through, shot her, boom. She was dead. They kept coming. Because their leader, Donald Trump, told them that their country was under attack. You know what I'm saying? And they just went with it. Nate, that's some straight up BS. What's some straight up BS? Coming from you? You the king of BS, man. You're the absolute king of BS. Drop. Listen, that's my time. I got to make a move. We'll keep our eyes on the Sittenfeld trial and hope to bring you even more people who got, I think, something to say and give us some unique perspectives on it. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it from different angles and get a sense on what's happening with that trial and really what that means for citizens moving forward. And we'll keep our eyes on what's happening around the world. Before we roll, though, I want to remind you today's show brought to you in part by our friends over at Wing Champ, the undisputed champion of all wings. They're out in beautiful Sharon Road. They are Black owned. Their website, 3Ws.originalwingchamp.com. You can also pick up your Creamalicious brand ice cream out there. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.